Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rocket Hour. We've taken the rocket back to Belmont Park today, back home for Ricky. As Ricky says, 21 days to Saratoga. Ricky, you live, 30 miles from Belmont? But Saratoga is all you've talked about for like 2 months, right?
That's all I've been talking about since last summer. I'm officially on the countdown now. We are officially 3 weeks away, so I don't have any other news to add other than if you guys are one of the people that likes to bring your lawn chairs and your outside food and beverage, that's still going to be allowed. That's the only news I have. You don't even need to follow Naira. Just come on here and I'll give you all the news for Saratoga you're going to need.
The Saratoga panic is always hilarious, and it happens every single year. Like Saratoga will come out and they'll say, well, instead of bringing 10 beers, you can bring 9. And then everybody does, that's just random. That's not true, but just something stupid, just one little change. And then everybody will go, I bet we can't have coolers. I bet we can't have lawn chairs. Bet have this or that. And it's like every year you guys do this and you panic. Don't worry. Saratoga is still Saratoga. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's have you seen the panic on Twitter? The widespread panic?
It's like we're limiting you guys this year to 49 beers. You can't bring 50 beers. You could only bring 49. And everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, I'm canceling my trip.
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of the weekend. It's like, people, relax. You can still buy a beer for $14 a piece. Don't worry.
Yeah. I bet they'll charge us $80 to get in now, this or that. It's just
right.
like,
Yeah, everyone's freaking out. And mind you, people haven't been there. This is going to be 2 summers.
Yeah.
Like, because no one was there last year. So I don't think for us, because I think we could actually go there completely sober and love it.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people that wouldn't feel the same way. So the people that only bet $2 a day are the people that care. Not the people that are there doing what we do. So it's nice because you get so many different aspects. You get townspeople, you get people from out of town, you get horse racing people, you get lawn chair people, you get bench people. There's so many different aspects. I think that's part of what makes Saratoga.
No doubt. And you can go anywhere in the town and they'll be talking about the first race the next day and who we're going to single in the pick 5. And that is definitely the cool thing about it. And I think people panic when anything new happens at Saratoga because of what Jared Bush just said. The love for Saratoga is so strong. And of course, it is really awesome to play because the payouts are always good because everybody wants to win a race at Saratoga. Nobody shows up with a horse there just to dick around or get it a start. Like, they're there to win, and so that usually makes really competitive races. All right, before we get to dreaming too much about opening day 3 weeks away, we will be there, Ricky. Let's get into Belmont today. We're going back to Belmont, like I said at the beginning. I don't know how I would describe this card. It's not awful. It's not great. We have really bad races mixed in with some good ones is how I'll say. And that's kind of the summary of the late pick 4 today, races 6, 7, 8, and 9, which is what we'll be covering. Obviously, we're going to start with race number 6 as I put Ricky's ticket up and my kind of wagering plan up. Race 6, $40,000 maiden claiming on the turf going 7 furlongs for New York bred fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. So a good old New York bred to kick us off, Ricky. I know we love that, right? But listen, it's a full field of 12. We do have 2 scratches. The 13 and the 14 are out. They were also eligibles. Everybody else is in. I love that you kick off every race now, especially when it's this. So I'll let you get us going here.
I want to touch on a few things. First off, we have 2 maiden claimings in the sequence. So when you said it's not that bad, it's pretty bad. I'm going to give this card a C-.
The card is either, like I said, it's either horrible races like the 6th and the 9th or pretty decent races like the 7th and the 8th.
Yeah, that's fair. The 7th is decent, and I would say the 8th is pretty good. So I guess we'll get that off the table. Luckily, I'll start it off here. I was really, really interested in the 6, Not a Trace, for a couple of different reasons. One of them, I'm really, really fond of Quantitative Reason. I don't know if Quantitative Reason is running today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll find out. I'm not sure where he is on the card. Maybe Aaron could find out. But I'm really, really fond of that horse. I've always liked that horse. And he lost to, she lost to her last time out. So that's fine. Mind you, that race was on a muddy track. It was a race that she was scheduled to run on the turf. It gets taken off. She showed some more speed after she brushed the gate, and she did pretty well to just maintain that position. To go 22-3 for this type of horse, again, at the state bred level, going 6 furlongs, I'm not that disappointed with it. I was kind of shocked to see her at 8-1, to be quite honest with you. Now she's going to get Louis Saez a little bit more aggressive. Can she show that sort of speed on the turf? I think that's a question, obviously. And can she do it going 7? Aaron, when I looked at the rest of this field, I'm not sure where the speed's going to come, to be quite honest with you. This is one of the most paceless 7 furlong turf sprints I've ever seen, literally. So can you get the lead? Yeah, I would be shocked if we saw anything lower than 23-2, which is pretty slow. Not low, pretty slow. The other horse that I use, and I'll let you get to your win bet, who I also have, is the 7, Kaz's Princess. I'm not really sure what this horse is, to be quite honest with you. But if we hark back to this time, literally this day last year, ran at Penn National and then went to Saratoga, was horrible at the mile distance. But her races aren't bad. And these connections are interesting. I don't know anything about Demetrius Sinafius. I don't know if I said that right or not. But Julio Hernandez is going to ride. He was aboard in the race at Penn National. Aaron, I would say that maiden special weight is probably a touch better than this one. Maybe. Like, they're pretty much the same. This is maiden claiming New York bred. But there's speed there. And we've seen it on the turf. I think a lot of people are going to shy away from this horse, just like I talked about Moon Over Miami yesterday. People shied away from Larry Ravelli because they just don't know who he is there. Clearly 15-1 got the job done. I'm interested in this horse. So I'm going to use the 6 and 7, and I'm going to use the 10 that I'll let you talk about. Write this down as well.
Yeah, so we have the same top 3. I'll kick it off with that. So we see this race very similar, where yesterday we were kind of all over the map with our picks. But here we see them pretty similar, at least to kick it off. I'll talk about Quantitative Reason that you mentioned. She's actually in the first race today. Yeah, and she's 5-2, so she is the morning line favorite. It's $40,000 claimer, 6 furlongs on the turf. So we're gonna kind of have an idea of barometer with how she runs to talk about the 6. And I agree with everything you said about the 6. I almost made the 6 a top choice because I do think she can get out in front and take them gate to wire. So I thought she was pretty interesting. I ended up on the 10, though. Write this down on top. Last time out on the turf, mile and 16th was right there. Made a little bit of a mild middle move. I would call it decent for the level that she was in, and then just kind of faded. I think the cutback plus the drop, because last time out was a maiden special weight for New York breds. This is a maiden claiming event, obviously. I think both things will equate to a win here. I really do. And I think this is a horse that's going to be mid-pack. So I am a little worried about the 6 as far as taking him gate to wire. I would not single the 10 by any means, but I just think the 10 sits a pretty decent trip. And if the 6 kind of comes back to him, I think the 10 just might outclass him. Like I said, I really like the drop in class plus the cutback in distance. So the 10 is where I'm going to go with the $10 win wager there. I'm kind of excited. Excited is a relative term, but I do think the horse, we haven't seen the horse in for a tag. So maybe get down to this level. The 10, write this down, might just be better than these and maybe can kind of win at the claiming level. So I definitely think the horse is the most interesting of the bunch. Is that kind of what your thoughts on the 10 as well?
Yeah, but I even, just to add to your point, she starts out, first of all, Daughter by Frosted goes for $150,000. That's probably one of the more expensive price tags you're going to see for New York breds. We see her over a sloppy track. So can we throw that out? Then she shows some speed. I wouldn't be surprised if she showed more speed than you're anticipating. To be like, she probably won't go with the 6 or the 7, but I expect her to be sitting around 3rd or 4th, which at that point, can she pass 2 horses? I think she can. Aaron, the other thing I wanted to point it out to add to your point, first of all, a massive rider upgrade. Trevor McCarthy twice, going to get Joelle. Trevor McCarthy, I believe, is out west now, but I don't care where he's riding, what horses he gets. He's not Joelle. The horse Shamalama Ding Dong, I think I said that right, who finished 2nd, I think is also scheduled as an MTO in maybe an allowance race tomorrow. So that horse is decent as well. So I think this horse is pretty strong. Again, you can't be excited about maiden claimers ever, especially at the state bred level, but I'm with you. I think the cutback in distance is going to help. And her 2 races, 11-1, 10-1, she probably wasn't supposed to be a factor in there anyway.
Heather's sitting in the office here with me, and she's about to cry when you said the name of that horse. It was all she could do not to laugh. So
that's the name of the horse.
I love that. Let's talk about the morning line favorite. Jared Bush brings up the number 8 Constitutional Rage. Definitely can win here. Very live. The Barkley Tag entry comes out of the same race as my 10. Write this down. So yes, this was the other horse that I put in the top 4 there, Jared. So I do agree. Why I didn't go all the way and put this horse on top, go all the way is a weird way to phrase it, but put this horse on top. Just no speed whatsoever at 1 1/16. Also has a start at 7 furlongs, showed no speed either. I just kind of think this has a look of a horse, even though it's a drop in class, just like the 10, first time in for a tag, and that will help. I don't know if she can close and beat all of them. I think she's going to make a run. I think she'll be there. I'm just a little skeptical that she's going to be too far behind. Did you consider the 8 at all?
No. The first reason I don't, when I see New York bred maiden claimers at the 40,000 level, mind you, there is one level lower. That is the 25,000. I try to avoid the morning line favorite as much as possible, unless it's evident to me. Because I look at the 8 and I look at the 10, and granted, the 10 could be the favorite, but the best case you can make for the 8, I have like 5 negatives about the 8 and 1 positive. I'll start with the positive because I'm in a good mood. It's going to be the 2nd race off the layoff. That's the best thing you can make. And I do like that type of situation. The problem is we haven't seen any speed out of her. We've seen her going 7 furlongs here at Belmont. That was her best effort. She finished 4th. But in the same race, to write this down, in her first start on the turf, she did better. She showed speed, and she's going to get a cutback in distance. Well, I wouldn't take 7-2 over 4-1. I just don't look at this race and see if Constitutional Rage finished like 3rd. That's different, but I think this is going to be slow, which inhibits her ability to close. I have no interest. If she beats me, she beats me.
I think the fairest way to assess it, and I agree with you, Jared, if you get 7-2, it might be worth it. But if that horse gets bet down, it becomes a problem. It's just the best way to sum it up is I think to win this race, she's going to have to show some different tactics than what we've seen from her. The falling to last, it's just not going to happen. I mean, she's going to have to be much, much the best to do it. And I don't think she is, but I don't think it's impossible for her to win. But to your point, and it's a point that I agree with as well, a favorite in these spots, let's say this horse was like a loose on the lead type. Well, then you think about it. But you always go into these races trying to beat the favorite, and then you find something like this that we're talking about. And it's just like, yeah, I think I'll pass. And then so the final point here before we move on to the next race is Cancel is on her, and but he's been on her the last 2 times. That's the thing. It's like it's not a jockey change where it's like, okay, we're going to try to show more speed. And I know what you mean here in the fact that, yeah, he is a speed rider, but he hasn't shown speed on her the last 2 times either. And so that kind of has me a little bit worried as well.
One other thing I just want to add: Junior Alvarado was aboard for this horse's debut. Then October 20th, Junior Alvarado got on a first timer, which clearly indicates he probably thinks this horse is nothing. Now, that was a long time ago. Things can change. The other thing I want to add is, to Aaron's point before we move on, you don't want to see if a horse can do something different when they're dropping in for a tag. Like, that's not the time, the favorite, morning line favorite. That's not the time when you want to test to see if that horse can show speed or do something different. There's a lot of reasons why I would fade this morning line favorite, even though there are other horses that are 4-1. This isn't the strongest morning line favorite.
So real quick before we move on to race 7, Swift Hitter versus Racing Dudes cap off coming up. It's funny because I stay off Twitter now. I just can't do it. And but I was getting screenshots of the Samich Swift Hitter fight. So I think it will happen because Samich would literally, like, he'll take on anybody, and I know Swift Hitter probably will as well. So let's hope. Let's hope that happens.
One thing I do want to note on that, if anyone wants to reach out to him and he wants to come on this show and we wants to do a handicapping thing, or we could do it I'll be willing to do it like for charity. Like, honestly, like if he wants to come on and we want to promote it, fantastic. Someone reach out to him and tell him I personally said it. Like, I don't care. Like, if that's what we want to do, he's more than happy to come. I know you run the show and you're my boss, but if he wants to come on and we want to promote it as like for charity, great. Like,
yeah,
let's make it happen type of thing. It's not like
always weird to me, and that like people hate us, and I've never met them, and I don't know them, and I don't hate anybody. So I always just get like almost weirded out. It's like, I don't have any problem with you. Why do you have a problem with me? So
yeah. Hey, if you want to, I don't know. I'm sorry. And is that Mach 11? Mach 111? Mach 111? I'm not sure. But if you want to reach out and let him know that I'm personally inviting him on, be more than happy to. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not backing down from anything. We can do it for charity. We can do for whatever. So I think that would be awesome. I think that just brings more attention to. We'll be like the YouTube fighters fighting real fighters, like the YouTubers versus the TikTokers, the boxers thing that's been going on. But someone to reach out to him, or if Aaron wanted to do it, either way, like we can have him on and we could do like a little handicapping contest, whatever. So
I think
more than merry.
The clear thing I want to make about all of it is I don't get on Twitter. I don't use Twitter anymore, and I don't know, like, I don't care, like, evidently the guy likes to gamble. It's like, great, I like giveaway picks, great. I mean, we're on the same team, I feel like. So I don't know.
Before we move on, I just want to I got no beef or hate. So if you got a problem, like,
exactly,
just do your own thing. No dog in the fight. Yeah, we'd love the showdown. If he wins, he wins. If we win, we win. Like, okay, fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like,
no,
sure, we could hype it up. Again, we could do it for charity. We could do it for the PDJF. We could do it for anything. We want, like, some equine thoroughbred aftercare group. Sure, I'll do it for $100, $200, and it can go to charity. Like, great, that'd be awesome. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Again, before we'll move on with, as Aaron and I said the same thing, this community is small, very, very small. If you want to divide it up, you're just going to be smaller. This isn't like football where you could go in sectors. Like, that's not the way it is. This is small. So let's try to get on the same page. But let's get back to horse racing.
Yep. We'll go back. I think that was well said. Go back to race 7 on the card today at Belmont Park. So we're getting out of the Baden claiming New York breds for a couple of races here. This one is a straight claiming $25,000 claiming price on the dirt going 1 mile for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. We've got a field of 7. I believe the 5 and the 6 are scratched out of this race, though, which leaves us with obviously a smaller field of 5, 6 horses, 5 entries, because the 1 and 1A are a coupled entry, obviously. So, Ricky, small field of 5, let you kick it off.
I'm real quick. I guess the 5 and 6 are scratched. I wasn't going to use them anyway. All right. So I just want to double check that. I kind of saw this as a 2-horse race, to be quite honest with you. It makes me even more confident now that these 2 horses are out because we're going to have a field of 8 go down to 6. I'll talk about, I'm looking at your ticket here, and I'll let you talk about your horse. I'll just talk about the other one. That's Flat Awesome Jenny, Irad Ortiz, Orlando Noda. One of the biggest things I try to tell people at the claiming ranks, or people that like to bet and they're betting a horse or a race that has claimers, don't be so concerned about consistency, because there are a lot of times where, for example, Flat Awesome Jenny was absolutely dreadful last time out, but she could easily run a good race here. Like, she has good races. That makes sense. When you get to allowance and stakes races, it's a lot more prevalent. She gets Orlando Noda. I think that's a massive upgrade over Natalia Lynch. Noda does a fantastic job with first-time claimers, horses at this level. Aaron has talked about this more times than not. One of the reasons California horse racing struggles is because they don't have claiming trainers. Your Orlando Nodas, your David Donks, your Wayne Potts, your Rudy Rods, on and on and on. Not everyone's Pletcher, Chad Brown, Christophe Clement. And we'll just leave it at that. Grand Motion, I don't know. You can go on and on. Asmussen, X, Y, and Z. You need trainers that specialize in this. And that's what we have here with the 3. I expect her to be much better. Obviously getting Irad over Trevor. I hate to say this, but Trevor McCarthy's getting the short end of the stick today. Every horse I'm using seems to be away from Trevor McCarthy. He's a good rider. He's just not Joel, and he's not Irad. I think the 3 at 5-2 is interesting because I'm willing to throw the last race out. First of all, I think a mile is interesting. She's gone this distance. I don't think it's her best distance, but there actually looks to be some speed in here, which is more speed than the 7 furlong turf sprint. So that's interesting. But I'm going to use the 3 and the 4. I'll let Aaron talk about his win bet, but I just don't think you could throw the 3 out based on what we saw last time out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I also had the 3 and 4 as the top 2. I did go with number 4, Daria's Angel, on top. It kind of gets back a little bit to what we've talked about. I think we talked about a lot at Gulfstream, where horses change hands a lot. So the 4, Daria's Angel, is first off the claim and leaves the Orlando Noda barn, which obviously does a pretty good job with claimers and horses at that level. Goes to a barn that it's not terrible, but it's not like quite as good, I would say. Would you agree with that? I mean, not a bad barn, but not terrible either.
Well, sorry, what was the question?
On the 4 for the new connections, it's not a horrible barn change, but it's a drop.
I would say it's, if we're ranking claiming trainers in New York, I would put like Orlando Noda 1. I would put Mike Maselli like 3.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a downgrade. Exactly. It's a downgrade, but it's like an A+ to like an A- B+.
Exactly.
Like
I think. Yeah. You said it probably better than I did, because I didn't want to be a jerk about it. It's just, it is a bit of a downgrade, but Manny Franco might be a jockey upgrade. No mind about it. I think he is. So I think that works well. The horse is going right back and doing the same thing that she has been doing and winning at, and that's that $25 or $25,000 claiming level going 1 mile. And then the big thing for me, get to the front. And this horse should win, right? I mean, you don't see a ton of other speed in the race. We talk about these low-level races all the time. You want to have speed. That's how you win the majority of these races. I think the horse is just a really solid gate-to-wire candidate to win this one. So, barn change didn't really bother me. Good jockey upgrade, and I thought, good enough to get the job done here. So, the $10 win wager goes on number 4, Daria's Angel. And then the 2, Jared Bush says the 2, customer experience is going to be his play. The 2 was one I thought about using with the 4. I ended up playing the 3 instead. What did you think of the 2, Ricky?
I really can't get over last time out. I had to rewatch the race because I talk about claimers, how you could throw them out. The problem is she really had no excuse. 3 wide around the far turn, just didn't have any response. And Aaron, 22 and 3 is not that fast for 40,000 claimers. Like, there's supposed to be something there. It's not that slow. It's probably in the middle. The race before is an allowance race. That field just wasn't that good. It was over a muddy track. I don't hate her. I'm just, before I use Mike Luzzy, I better really like the horse. I'll just leave it at that. So I think the 4 and the 3 and the 4 are just better. And this is the best way to look at it, right? The 4 is going to show speed, and I think they're all going to be catching the 4. Do I want two horses that are going to close? Like, I think the 3 is my top horse. If I'm going to use that horse to close, that mare to close, I want her to catch someone. I don't want 2 horses to catch a speed that I think can get away on the front end. So that's kind of the race area I looked at it. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just the way I looked at it.
I looked at the 2 like this. She has a race. If she can get back to her race 2 back, which came over a muddy surface and came over Aqueduct, so obviously some different set of circumstances. But if she can get back to that race, she's your winner. I'm just skeptical that she can. Stretches out to a mile after running 3 straight at 6 or 6.5 furlongs. But she does have some form at a mile. Last year, towards the end of the year, she did win a starter allowance at Aqueduct going this distance. So for me, though, I just am skeptical that she can get back to that top effort that it's going to take to win. I do think she might be, a fringe player. And again, to this point, it says a good pick for the 4, but the price is going to be short. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to try to beat the 4, the 2 isn't a horrible play. It's just not the one that I would do. I'm with you. I think I would try to use the 3 as the alternate to the 4. And one thing on the price of the 4, I think that's going to be the key. If we get 8-5, even 7-5, I think the horse is playable. But I do think you're right, to your point, Jared. If the horse is like even money, 4-5, 3-5, it becomes too unplayable. I mean, I don't know about you, Ricky, but I never want a real short price in a $25,000 claimer.
No, not at all. I mean, she does look pretty tough. Yeah, I'll say that. Mind you, one thing I try to stress the most, you talked about a trainer downgrade. While that is the case, I would agree, she won at this level last time out. Is Michael Maselli capable of having her do the same exact thing? That's what you have to ask yourself. Basically, can Michael Maselli go 6 weeks and just do the same thing that Orlando Noda was doing? Mm-hmm. If the answer, it's not like she has to get better. It's not like she's moving up in class. She's doing the same thing. So I don't if Michael Maselli can't do that. First of all, he's winning at 16%, and he's been in the money at 55%. It's 10 out of 19. That comes out to 53%. If she's good enough, she's supposed to win. The consistency's there. She's in form. She's going to be approaching $100,000. She'll get to it 100,000, I believe, with a win here. It's going to be close. So I don't mind that. I would take her at 7-5, nothing lower.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. And then Jared Bush says if the 2 doesn't win, she'll be in the exacta, and throw out last race and she's there. I mean, listen, I don't necessarily disagree. I think the 2's going to be around. I'm not sure if she is good enough to win it. So, all right, let's move on to the 8th race. I definitely think this is the best race on the card. It's for my money. It's going to be a field of 7. The 3, which is a main track only entry, will scratch out of the race. So field of 7 here, allowance optional claimer, going 6 furlongs on the turf for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. So another race for the fillies and mares here. Like I said, I think it's the best. I've got a horse I really like in here, but I'll let you kick us off.
I used as many as I possibly could, to be honest with you. I want to talk about one horse specifically, and that's the 7, Catch a Bid. Joe Sharp has been dreadful this meet. 0 for 3, not even close. Now, he doesn't have a ton of horses up here, but he ships this mare to Belmont to make her Belmont debut here. That says something to me. So either one of 2 things are happening. One, he's going to have her ready to go for some race at Saratoga, or he's just trying to rack up air miles, because she's been all over the place, just dating back to last July. Saratoga, Sam Houston, Fairgrounds, Keeneland, Pimlico. So, mind you, she hasn't won any of them. So I'm not really sure what the plan is for her to ship up to New York for an allowance optional claiming, which, Aaron, really should be a stakes race. Like, this is a stakes field. Now, it's not a grade 3, not a grade 2, grade 1. This is a non-graded stakes field. This is like a real field. Like, a lot of these horses have stakes experience. I just thought this was interesting. I put her on top. You have a win bet on the morning line favorite, Robin Sparkles. I'll let you talk about her, and then I'll talk about my other three horses.
Yeah, listen, I think it's, to me, when I looked at it, it's like you're gonna go short with Robin Sparkles, or you're gonna play a lot of them, because you're gonna go down the rabbit hole if you're gonna try to beat her, because once you get past her, the rest of these entries look the same. So I understand you know you're gonna go deep here. My thing is, and I'm surprised you didn't go short here, because this Robin Sparkles, the 5 horse, just looks like a Ricky Pasternak special. The horse is so consistent against a field that, while we're here saying, yeah, it's a pretty good field, you know, these horses are pretty decent, the lack of consistency for some of these runners is pretty staggering, right? Like, and it's sometimes it's because they're facing just better company, and sometimes they just don't show up with great races. Robin Sparkles, I do think you can count on to run pretty well here. I think she goes right to the front, tries to take them as far as she can. The good news is, with her, 6 furlongs, turf, aqueduct, speed, that's what you need. And I think, we can rely on her to be in that spot. Jose Ortiz aboard once again here. I mean, so I don't think you have any worries that this horse is going to be where she needs to be. The only one I'm worried about, honestly, is the 2 Jakarta. I think Jakarta, from a speed figure standpoint, when you look at her numbers, she's pretty darn good. She might even be at her best a step above Robin Sparkles. Now, the problem is, and that what I've talked about, you just don't see this horse consistently running that kind of number. But at her best, I definitely think she can win here. Those were the 2 that I definitely were the highest on. But Robin Sparkles, for me, gets the win wager. I just really like this horse a lot. And it looks like Jared Bush kind of agrees. Jakarta is who he's going to play, and he's going to key with the 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which that's a lot of your similar horses. You haven't talked about Jakarta much, Ricky. I'll let you talk about her now, because I know you're using her as well.
So we let's call this a stakes race for the sake of conversation, because I think that's fair. I don't think we're making it a stretch. When you have horses that ultimately need speed or can only run a certain way, like the 2 Jakarta needs the lead. The 5 Robin Sparkles needs the lead. The 6 Carrick, whatever, needs the lead. All these horses are going to be gunning. This is not a spot to be tactical, because they're so good. Robin Sparkles is going to be tested, which leads me to believe a horse like Madeline Must, the 1 or the 7 Catch a Bid, will come flying. Now, the reason I use Madeline Must is because she's going to be a little bit closer than Catch a Bid. Catch a Bid will probably be last, or the 8 Unique Factor, which I'm not using any Peter Miller runners at this point. I just at Belmont. I just see this thing like melting down. I'd be shocked. I'm willing to say my bold bet of the day is this thing is quicker than 22 flat. Now, with that being said, Aaron, this isn't going to be 21-4 where Robin Sparkles is just on her gallop enjoying herself. I think she's going to be pressured. I forgot what race we were at the Belmont for. We saw the same thing. Maybe it was Nick's Go, where we were like, maybe the fractions are right, but there's pace pressure. Pace pressure really affects the horse. Robin Sparkles is going to be tested here. I just don't see her getting the lead so early. So easily, excuse me, which leads me to believe someone like the 1 or the 7 can come on. I honestly, I think you can make a case for every other horse, for a lot of horses in here. Because, for example, like even the 4, who lost to a horse named Chubwagon. Chubwagon is like the undefeated monster of the country. Now, I don't know what Chubwagon's really been facing, but nonetheless, I think she's still undefeated. So I don't know. And we're going to see her. That horse is 2 for 3 on the turf in the money finishes. The 8, 5 out of 6 in the money finishes. Like, I honestly like left those 2 off, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won. So I think we could definitely beat Robin Sparkles, and Catch a Bid hasn't won in a while. So I'm looking at the top 2 choices. I'm with you, though. If I had a win wager, it would probably be Robin Sparkles. But I also think you can get some prices home in here. And I was really close to hitting the all button, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, you almost did. So what'd you leave off, like the 8? So if I'm rooting for the 8 all of a sudden.
The 4 and the 8. The 4 and the 8.
So go 4, go 8. That's what if 5 doesn't win.
Well, you want the 5 to win?
No. Listen, here's why I'm not completely worried about a pace meltdown, although I do acknowledge that is possible. Robin Sparkles set off 2 back in a stakes race at Belmont Park. She was 3.5 lengths off the early pace and did close up. Now, she lost. She lost the race. I'm very clear about that. But she did show that she can sit off and then pass horses. So I do think she can be a little tactical if needed. So that's kind of why while I acknowledge, that's still a possibility that there could be a fight for the lead. She might be able to be tactical here. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Nick Feldman also likes Jakarta. It makes a really good point. She scratched a few times in May. Looks like Maker has her spotted well. And, 3 straight works leading up to this race. IRAD up. Should run well here. I agree. I definitely think for me, the 2 is the other one to use. I went 2-5 in the pick 4, so just full discretion there. So I went short. Ricky went deep. We'll see what happens. I definitely think that's the race of the day at NYRA. So now we will go on to maybe the worst race of the day at NYRA to kind of close this thing off here. It's going to be race 9. We're back on the turf once again. Another maiden claiming $40,000 for New York breds. Like I said, 7 furlongs on the turf. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. So we're one of the fillies and mares again. I think every race was fillies and mares today that we're talking about. So scratched out of this, the 6, the 12, and the 14. So the 13 and 15 will run with those scratches. 6, 12, 14, all scratched. 13 and 15 will run. Ricky, I know you love it. I'll let you take it away again.
I just want to say the 15, just because she enters the gate doesn't mean she's going to run. This horse. She's going to walk. I think you should have said the 15 is in the gate and she's going to walk today. The
15 is entered into the race. How about that?
Yeah. The 15 is entered in the race. I don't know how much running she'll actually do. And the 13 also is horrible. Oh God. Okay. So let's talk about the horses I'm actually going to use. Now, for the record, this race is horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I wouldn't talk anyone off anything. You have a win bet on a horse that I'm not using. So yeah. I think that'll be an interesting. The 6, Shay on a Mission. Now, let's talk about the story of this horse. Mission Impassable debuts. Carlos David, no surprise, debuts at Gulfstream. That's usually where he has most of his runners. I would say 95% of them. Gets Paco Lopez, can't show any speed at the maiden claiming level, but that's against open competition. Then he brings her to New York, maiden special state bred. That race gets taken off. I'm interested to see what she does here because she actually did break a lot more sharply last time out. So can she do that in a race that was scheduled for the turf? I'm not sure. He continues to give her more ground. So I think that's an interesting note. 6-1 is fair. Let's talk about the 7. I guess that's Barre. Christophe Clement does really, really, really well with debutantes in these types of races. I don't know why or how, because if you go, Aaron, again, I know you're not a workout guy, and I'm not either. This horse has competed in workouts against 34 runners in the last 4. So that's May 4th, May 20th, June 1st, June 16th. She hasn't in the last 3. She's finished last in every single work. I've never seen anything like that. But the 7-2 morning line tells me one of 2 things. One, we're going to just bet the first time starter because the other horses stink, which is possible. The other one is maybe it's Clement and Rosario. Maybe it's a combination. I'm not really sure. But what I do know is Clement does – I don't have stats to back it up, but he does really, really well like in these races to close out the day or these maiden claimers for state bred competition. So I think that's fair. And the fact that she comes in as the morning line favorite as a debutante, it tells you how bad this field is. The other one I wanted to talk about was the 10, the Promised Road. I was back and forth between the 10 and the 13. I can't use a horse that lost by 20.5 lengths. I refuse to. In any level, I just refuse to. Going to be her first start of the year. George Weaver is quietly one of the better trainers in New York. I'm not sure why he doesn't get as much love. George Weaver is great with horses at like the starter allowance level. Like they're not A runners, they're not B runners, they're like B minus, C plus, like the horses you want to keep protected. I think he does really, really good job. I'm just very scared of Luis Cardenas. We'll find out. I'll be honest. This horse, let's just say this horse hasn't planned out. This filly hasn't planned. Quality Road, who stands for $150,000, gets purchased for $220. She's made $610. I'm guessing this horse isn't winning a Breeders' Cup race anytime soon. So we'll see what she's made of. But I'll let you talk about your win wager, and that's the 1 Lemon Taffy.
You know, I looked at this because the 6th race and the 9th race, same thing basically. And I looked at this and thought there are some horses in that 6th race that might actually win a race after this one. There's none. This is a horrid race. I like it's one of the worst we've ever covered, I think. It's bad.
It's really, really bad.
It's brutally bad. So I don't like number 1 Lemon Taffy as far as a racehorse. I think if this horse wins today, that will be it for this horse. I don't think she's going to win again. But I took a flyer on. I think Lemon Taffy will get to the front. Here's why. Luis Saez has rode this horse once in her 3 starts, and she was on the front. Now, it was a 1.16 race. It was a maiden claiming event, just like this one, same conditions as far as that goes, but it was a 1.16. The pace was not very fast, but she got on the lead. She held on to 3rd. She was only beaten 4 1/4, and it was a 1.16. So now we're cutting back to 7 furlongs. Maybe the horse can get the lead from the rail. I think drawing the rail, there's only one option here. Just send as hard as you can. And maybe the cutback, she'll just hold on because A, these horses behind her are terrible. And B, maybe she just gets out to an easy enough lead where she just gets a little brave. That's all it is for me. I mean, you could talk through all these horses. They're just not very good. This is definitely a race that we talk about. If you've got an angle that you've seen or you've used in the past that works, throw it in here, and take a price. Lemon Taffy for me, 5-1. I hope we get that. I think we will because there's just nobody else in here that really warrants getting bet. I think the 8, they made 7-2 on the morning line because they just don't know who to make the favorite. And it's like, well, these are strong connections and they're going to take money.
So apparently the 6 is scratched as well.
Yes.
Looking through these comments. So I will change it officially to 8, 9, and 10. So I'm going to stop the banner for a moment so you guys can see that. I guess I'll talk about Mazel 18.
Yep.
I really don't want to. From a name standpoint, yeah. You know what? As the only Jew on this show, I guess Mazel is a good thing. Mazel 18. Maybe that'll bring me some luck. Look, guys. I'm not gonna make anything up to you. I don't really know why I'm using her, but the other reasons. The speed figures aren't that bad. Some of her best aren't that bad. Now, that was a long time ago. But again, how confident can I be in a first-time starter debuting here who hasn't run faster than one horse in 3 morning works. The other thing with the 10, the Promised Road, there's nothing promised. I'm a Jewish fan too. Thank you. No, but Aaron, seriously, like all the other horses I like, the 8's a first-time starter who hasn't run faster than anything. Probably couldn't run faster than a standing tree on any of those mornings. And then the 10 hasn't been seen since November 8th. Again, can you imagine purchasing a horse for $220,000 and she's made $610?
No.
Like, like that's like not even 0.5% of what you paid. Literally, like it's incredible. So, can I be that confident? I don't know. Like, it's like 0.2. I just did the math. It's like 0.2% or something like that. So, I don't know. I'll throw the 9 in there. Can we talk about this 13 for a minute?
Okay, talk about the 13.
No. I want to ask you or anyone else out there. Please explain to me why this 13. Anyone, please, someone enlighten me. Why is this 13 5-1 on the morning line? Someone explain it to me. Aaron, give me an indication, please, because this horse is horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, I can't make any case for it whatsoever.
There's nothing good about this horse.
No, it would be a shock. I mean, that's the only way you could put it, right? It would be a shock.
I mean, but we shouldn't be saying something's a shock when it's 5-1 on the morning line.
Right.
So I'm trying to understand either one of two things. One, these morning line odds are dreadful, which is possible. You know, even the David Aragona, some of the best in the country, just don't see it properly. That's possible. Or this is the worst maiden claiming field I've ever seen.
Could be a bit of both. It could be a situation where they thought, maybe that horse won't like draw in, and we'll just kind of assign.
Okay. Well, okay, fine. Well, let me ask you this then. If I had to choose between the 5 and the 13, why would I not take the 5? I get Jeremiah Englehart. I get Jose Ortiz. I get a Kitten's Joy.
Yeah.
I debuts a maiden special weight. Yeah, she didn't beat anyone, but maybe the layout, maybe she's better as a 3-year-old. Like, why would I possibly take the 13?
Yeah.
The pedigree stinks. Dylan Davis isn't as good. Bruce Brown's not as good. And she has 2 races.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we should bet the 5. I'm just saying the 13 is one of the worst bets I've ever seen.
I used the 5 almost viewing it as it's like a quasi first-time starter in a way. Like they've obviously just hit the reset button and now they're going back, and just trying something different. Oh, here you go. The 13 lost to Robin Sparkles on debut by 10 lengths. I mean, no, I don't think that's a great race still. It was 10 lengths, so.
Okay, well, also, this is, again, let's talk about the horse's story. We could talk about the 13, and Nick, if that's the thing you want to go off of, fine. The other thing is Robin Sparkles, who we just talked about, she's not the same horse that she was, because she was running in for a maiden claiming in for a tag. Now Robin Sparkles is running against stakes competition. So I think
his last comment makes sense. So he's just trying to say, why is the horse 5-1? Maybe it's just like they saw that race and they thought, yeah, 5-1 in this field seems fair.
No, and I agree with that point. I guess if that's the best case you could make, Nick, first of all, Nick, I do appreciate you trying to add to the convo. That's the most important thing. I do appreciate that. Yeah. The other thing is just like, if that's why we're making her 5-1, if I were to ask David Aragona, if he were on here and I said, David, why? If that's the only thing he told me, that's not going to be good enough. But I guess that's the best case. But Robin Sparkles is not the same horse. Like that was 10.5 months ago. I guess that's the best case you could make for the 13.
Yeah.
That she only lost to another maiden claimer by 10.5 lines. Could you imagine? Oh man. Oh man.
I want to go back to Nick's comment on the 7. I think the 7 should have been the one you used. Second off turf, coming off freshening, first race as at 3. I think I think Nick has a point here. Also, first time Rudy, he says, and I agree with that. So maybe a little bit of a trainer upgrade. In a race like this, you always have to look at that kind of stuff because it's just like, come on, you got to find some angle. My problem, and I have a problem with all of them. It's not, I'm not talking trash or anything like that. The horse was 89-1 in that last race. Now we're moving to the claiming ranks. We're cutting back in distance. We're getting better connections. But man, 89-1 to 9-2, and probably what will be even bet down because of IRAD. I get that it's a tough pill to swallow.
Are you asking?
Just like
we're talking about the 7.
Yeah.
I heard. No offense. I heard 89-1, and I immediately started looking at something else. Okay, I don't even know where to begin. If this horse wins at anything shorter than 9-2, I will officially come on here tomorrow and admit that whatever I've been doing as part of the product or anything for the last, I think I've been with you guys for like 2 years now, maybe just under 2 years. Everything I've been doing for the last 2 years has been wrong. Everything.
You're doing this, just to be clear, before you go on and dig yourself too big of a hole. This is Rudy Rodriguez, Irad Ortiz in a terrible, terrible race.
No,
I don't think the 7's impossible.
No, it has to be shorter than the morning line favorite. If she floats up, then whatever I said doesn't count.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. What are we going to bet? Irad or... I'm sorry. And this is... We could throw the dirt races out. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else want to take a horse? Okay, I'm going to do the math out loud so everyone can get a look at my fingers. December, January, February, March, April, May, June. Does anyone else want to take a horse at this level who's dropping second time on the turf who we haven't seen in 7 months? Aaron, if I said that fact about any other horse at this level that didn't have Irad Ortiz, this horse would be 10-1. So if Irad Ortiz is able to strap a rocket to this horse and I don't know about it, then she'll win. So I don't know. That horse. I hope that horse wins by 10 lengths so I could come on here and humiliate myself. And by the way, I do want to add, I'm not using Mazel 18. I'm going to put in the 5. To your point, I'm going to treat that 5 like first time starter. So it should read, someone tell me if it doesn't, 5, 8, and 10 now.
Okay. Well, that's a good segue because I think we've talked about this race enough. So I'm going to let you go through your ticket now. Can I wrap us up and then I'll go through mine?
That's really kind of you for letting me segue. I thought that was good. All right. So let's start in race number 6, maiden claimers. This is awesome. I actually like this race better than the 9th race, if we're going to be honest. I'm going to use Aaron's horse, the 10, but I'm also going to use the 6 and 7. I think you want to show speed, and I'm interested in with that 7 going to debut after running a Penn National a few times for Demetrius Sinafius. We'll see if that horse is anything. 6, 7, 10. Then I went with the 3 and the 4 in the next race. I think the 4 for Michael Maselli, first time out, should be interesting. I don't really know what Flat Awesome Jenny did last time out, but again, we could throw that one out. She was pretty good. Then the race after that, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Knowing my luck, the 4 of the 8 is going to win, and this thing's going to pay a lot. I'm going to try to beat those 2. I think Robin Sparkles is going to get in a pace duel with some others, and that should leave the 1 and the 7 rallying late. And then finally, I'll go 5, 8, and 10. The 6 is scratched. Boom, boom, kitty bye. As Aaron said, we're going to treat that one like a first-time starter. Kitten's Joy, Jeremiah Engelhart, Jose Ortiz. And if you want to add anything else, was bred by the Ramseys. Very nice people. So let's see there. That's a $45 ticket.
I think Heather will be in the office for all of our shows now because how you say names. Like you've got 2 of the toughest names to say on the show today. So
who? Wait, who? Who else? Boom kitty bye bye. That's
Slamma Llama Ding Dong. That was a.
You didn't even. That's not even the name of the horse. That's Shamalama Ding Dong. That's the name of the horse. I mean,
I know that's why it's funny. I think the joke, right over your head. All right, so
Yeah, it did.
race,
Yeah, a lot of things.
race 6 for me. I did the win wager on number 10. Write this down. I just kind of think this horse might just be a touch classier than the rest of a pretty average bunch at best, but definitely a better event than the 9th that I'll talk about last. Race 7, the win wager goes on number 4, Daria's Angel. Gate to wire looks pretty likely here. I just think that's going to be tough to catch her. Race 8, I'm going number 5, Robin Sparkles to win. Ricky went deep. I'm saying no. Robin Sparkles gets the job done. Little bit of a pace presence, pace meltdown as possible. I will acknowledge that, but she did 2 back. She did kind of come from off the pace and made a little move. So I kind of think she can be tactical if needed. Race 9, worst race I think we've ever talked about on this show. I went number 1, Lemon Taffy, just hoping for a gate to wire ride by Luis Saez. Just taking a shot in the dark. If you've got a long shot you like, take a shot in that one. That is a brutally bad race. $10 to win all of them, $40 in total. That'll do it. I did want to talk real quick about the sports last night. How about them Islanders winning in overtime 3-2, forcing a game 7. I thought that was fantastic. Really good game. And then the Hawks Bucks game, Trae Young. Wow. He was incredible last night. So 2 very, very, very good games. Did you watch? I know you did. You did watch them? I know. Talk a little bit about Trae Young and then the Islanders. I don't know if you watched that one or not, but
No, I did. I was going back and forth. Mind you, this is, I think, the best game that no one's talking about, and I'll get to these in a minute. The Yankees were winning, gave up the lead in the 9th, and then won in the bottom of the 9th. That was the best game of the night. The Islanders. I give them credit for even forcing it to 7, to be quite honest with you, because I think Tampa's so much better.
Yep.
One thing I do want to point out to people, when you lose a playoff game by 8, which they did, 8-0, that has no opinion on the next game. Like, it's so – in baseball, it's all about your starting pitcher. In hockey, it's all about your goalie. If your goalie's on that night and he holds you to 1, maybe 2 goals at the most, you got a shot. And last night, Varlamov was good. So – the Islanders came back from 2-0. They have to go to Tampa now, and to be honest, you gotta favor Tampa. But I give the Islanders credit for even battling back in that game. The Hawks, I'm not really sure if it's more about the Hawks or the Bucks losing, because the Bucks had multiple leads in the 4th quarter. The problem with the Bucks, their best player can't shoot, and he's not reliable. You can't make a free throw. You can't hit an 18-foot jump shot with any consistency. Chris Middleton is more inconsistent than the maiden claimers we just talked about. It's really, really difficult to find that team. Drew Holiday is supposed to be a defensive stopper. Didn't look like he was playing any defense on Trae Young last night. Trae Young is shimmying over everyone and then throwing passes off the backboard to John Collins. Now, what I will say, I expect the Bucks to win by 15 in game 2. Like, I just expect them to come out. The best way to play Trae Young, and I don't like to say this, you've got to make him feel you. And what I mean by that is you have to be physical. I know. Heather's probably laughing at me back there. You have to be physical with the guy. He's a midget. He's small. He probably weighs like 160. You got to get physical with him. He was able to do whatever he wanted. So I say the Bucks win by double digits.
Oh, Ricky, you had to make it weird. You could have just said, hey, you got to be physical with Trae Young. No, you had to.
Well, no, see, this is the difference between the people that listen and you. The people that are listening understand that that's a sports phrase. You got to make them feel fine. Feel your presence. Feel your presence. Is that better?
Honestly, I would show the Bucks video of what the Pistons did to Michael Jordan back in the day, and I would say do that to Trae Young. Yeah,
you can't be as physical because the rules have changed, but you've got to be like a little bit like PJ Tucker was on Durant. You've got to be teetering that line.
Yep.
Along the way, you pick up a technical. All right, then it might be worth it, because I don't know how Trae Young. You can he's great. I'm not sure if he's a superstar yet. I mean, he's clearly in the star category. Like, when I think of superstar, I think of you can elevate your team. This team is pretty good. They have a lot of nice players. the biggest thing for the Bucks, you can't play Brook Lopez because he can't guard. So it's going to be interesting to see if they make that adjustment.
Yeah.
Carlisle was hired as the new Mavs coach. Wasn't Rick Carlisle the Mavs coach and then he quit?
I thought that was the case. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, listen,
right.
I'm with you. I think the Hawks are going to get beat. And I really still don't think it's going to be that close of a series, but that was pretty awesome to watch. I wish it would go 7 games just so we could watch Trae Young. I just enjoy watching.
Of course you do.
I mean, forget about the OU thing. Why would you not want to watch this kid as much as possible? Like, he's unbelievable. He was like that pass off the backboard last night was like that stuff you just don't see very often. Here you go. The Pacers hired Carlisle.
Okay, that makes sense because he was already the Mavs coach and then he quit.
Right.
I'm a big believer of earning things. Now, I'm not saying the Hawks haven't earned anything, but it's like the Bucks have been there, done that. I like to watch stories for teams that deserve it. Like, for example, the Chiefs had to lose to the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it wasn't the Super Bowl, but it was the AFC Championship. Then they come back and they win. The Bucks are a little different. The Buccaneers, I mean, because they had a really good team and then they get Brady. It just shows you how horrible Winston is. But it's like I like to see teams like, for example, if Oklahoma were to win this year after getting so close, I think that would be awesome because they've been there so many times. And going into it, as an OU fan, they're just not as good as Alabama. Year in, year out, they're just not as good. But if it were to come up this year that they won, I think it would be great. I really do. The Hawks just haven't been there yet, and I think it would be nice to see the Bucks win. I think Trae Young is the second best superstar left in terms of talent that I want to see. Because if we look at Giannis's numbers, they're kind of reminiscent of what Shaq was doing. Mm-hmm. The problem is Giannis shoots the ball, so we look at him as like a loser, and Shaq never shot it. Their free throw percentage is the same. Like, Shaq never shot, and he had Kobe. That's the difference. Like, your shot maker is Chris Middleton versus Kobe. So, I don't know. I think it's a better series than the Clippers is going to be because I think that series is over. And now that Chris Paul's back and Kawhi's not coming back. So, that's where I am.
Yeah. All right, so Canadians are winning tonight. Jared Bush says Canadians will try to round out that series with Las Vegas. They got their shot. Game 6, they're up 3-2. They got it at home. They better win tonight. I don't think they're going to win game number 7. So, we got a lot to look forward to again. I'm sure we'll end the show with a little bit of sports talk again tomorrow as well. Tomorrow, big show. We've got a lot of stakes to cover. We'll probably also do the Belmont Late Pick 4 again. So we'll kind of make it a little quicker on the sequence so we can get to the stakes. Big things coming up today as well. Magic Mike Show going to be on 5:30 Eastern time. And then, of course, Blinkers Off will follow at some point in the night. So, you can drink with the dudes tonight. We could listen. I think we could probably push that back to where the games are going on and Blinkers Off. Kind of have some fun, talk back and forth on that. We got a big show for Blinkers Off because a lot of stakes races to go over, and then of course we'll do it right here tomorrow as well. All right, guys, have fun watching all the racing action today. Both the big tracks, Churchill and Belmont, going to be late afternoon, and that'll lead us right in to the big sports games tonight. So we'll see you right back here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. Good luck, everybody.